In this video, we are going to be talking about how real estate ads on Facebook specifically actually work from click to a closed deal. I'm very excited to talk through this because a lot of people typically have issues when it comes to running Facebook ads. We're going to uncover these through a series of questions here today that Brian will be asking me. We'll go through and give you our perspective on how you can actually make Facebook ads work for your real estate business to generate leads, have people to respond to, nurture, and qualify, ultimately set appointments and close deals. First off, I want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Austin. I am one of the co-founders of Dippity. We are a full-service digital marketing agency that specializes in real estate. We do lead generation, SEO, YouTube content creation, and even a whole coaching aspect to our business where we can teach you one-on-one how to do all of these things done with you and also done for you. I want to go ahead and introduce co-host here, Brian, today. Brian, how are you?
What's going on? Super excited. My name is Brian Hamawi. I am a real estate team leader. My wife and I lead a big team out of Orlando, Florida. I've been doing real estate for over 20 years, have expertise in the short-term rental industry and built software for the industry as well. So super deep into real estate property management, helping agents grow their business. And I'm excited to talk to you today about Facebook ads because I think it's something that a lot of people really don't understand.
No, I
So,
agree.
what do you say we get into this conversation and get started from the very top? A lot of agents just, when they start to dive into Facebook and Facebook ads, Austin, most of them just say these things don't work, but they're not understanding the basics behind what needs to go into Facebook to make it work. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's behind the scenes? What do we need to do to actually make an ad run properly on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like a lot of times when it comes to the reasons that you might feel Facebook ads aren't working, there's a few different things here. One, I've seen we've managed a lot of different ad accounts. And so when we jump on with people, they may say that in the beginning, like, hey, I've done it in the past, it doesn't work. And what I typically will find when I go in and audit what they've ran in the past is they may not have a full understanding of how to truly set up a Facebook ad campaign around the specific objective they want. I've seen people run them for brand awareness. Well, that's going to get you a ton of impressions, right? A ton of views. It's not necessarily going to get you a lead. I've seen people want to drive traffic to a page that doesn't necessarily have a route to convert a lead. They're like kind of hoping they go on the page, browse, and then go to the contact us. There's not usually a true strategy behind it. And so
Mhm.
ultimately, what happens when people feel it's not working, it boils down to the strategy. And I think ultimately the technical setup of the campaign itself, how to structure it and understand from objective of lead generation or retargeting, pairing that with the proper creative offer, copy, landing page. And once that comes in, where does it go into? Are you just getting an email notification? Is it going into the CRM? When it goes into the CRM, what's happening after that? Do you have a process in place for follow-up? Do you have any automation set up? So typically when people say it doesn't work and I go in and see an audit of what they're actually doing, it's just that they may not be aware of the full strategy that needs to be in place to actually make it work.
Yeah. Oof, super interesting. And it sounds like there's quite a bit that needs to go into it for it to actually work. Is there somewhere or a way for agents to really get a guideline on, the first few steps on getting it set up? And at what point should real estate agents be reaching out to team members like you to help them execute this?
Yeah, ultimately I think when it comes to figuring out what they need to do to get it set up, there's a million resources out there, right? Like you could hop on YouTube and go watch some videos on how to do it and set up go in Facebook Ads Manager, Meta Ad Manager to build out a campaign specifically for real estate. That exists.
Okay.
But in terms of having a resource, you got YouTube, we have school community,
Mm.
you got us for one-on-one private coaching if you want. You can reach out about having somebody do it for you. So there's a lot of different things you could do there. But ultimately, you just need to know what offer you're wanting to do, what type of lead are you wanting to generate, and then you got to build from that.
Okay. All right. So Let's walk through what actually happens when somebody clicks through a Facebook ad for a real estate offer. What are those steps? What should we be looking for that we need to create that makes it engaging for a client to actually want to click on that ad and reach the real estate agent and get them through that funnel?
So when it comes to crafting an offer for a real estate ad on Facebook, you want to do a few different things. One, immediately think of the objective. And we're going to do this right now. We're going to just come up with a quick strategy right here. Downsizers has become pretty popular since COVID. Equity has gone through the roof for any homeowners. So there's a lot of homeowners that throughout the last, what's COVID 20, we're like almost 7 years past, right? So since in the last 7 years, the amount of equity that's built up is a lot, and the amount of homeowners that are now potentially wanting to sell their home and downsize is significant. It's a 7-year gap of people's aging. They want to have less maintenance, things of that nature. So let's play the scenario that the offer is going to be showing homes for sale that are downsizer filtered, meaning lower square footage, lower maintenance. Maybe there's no pool. Finding like homes on your IDX website that you can create a saved search off of and then use that as the landing page, but make sure you have a forced registration pop up or use a Facebook lead form to capture the lead. So that solves the landing page. That gives the objective. From the creative aspect, you can do multiple things. You can actually, and I would recommend when you create this campaign, you're going to probably target geographically around your location, trying to find downsizers in your target market. You can narrow that by interest a bit by looking at people who are looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia. Facebook has these interests that are available to go, hey, they're in Tampa, Florida, and they've been on Zillow, Realtor, and Trulia lately. And so you know that person is likely looking at homes for sale. So you can push creative in front of them. Now you're trying to fish in an even narrower pond. You're going to make sure your ad copy speaks to downsizers. So you need to write really crafted down copy for attracting downsizers. You then need to have headlines to do the same, letting them know that what they're getting is an exclusive list of homes that are fit for downsizing. When they click and engage with that ad, they get a Facebook lead form that pops up. When they fill out their name, email, phone number, I also recommend on these downsizer, like in this scenario, you can ask a couple more custom questions. Do you have a home to sell? Yes or no. If it's a true downsizer, they have a house to sell. And then also, when are you wanting to make a move? Don't put 0, put 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. They're going to give you an answer. Or if they're not in those areas and their AR 0, they're going to bounce away from your ad and not fill it out because most people want to be fairly honest, but it helps mitigate a bit. So ultimately, when it comes to what happens after the click, that lead form pops up. They fill it out. They hit submit. They then get a link to then go to your website to see that list of homes that are fit for downsizers. I hope that helps answer. I know it's a long-winded one.
Yeah, it's a curious question because there are so many ways to do this as well. I mean, I know that there's a certain number of clicks that most people recommend. The smaller amount of clicks that you have, the more conversion you're gonna see throughout your landing page. So if you're not going through multiple pages trying to get to a checkout point or a submission point, where did you guys see that ultimate, that optimum click through? Is it like 2-3 steps or is it 5 steps and then people drop off? How do you guys work that?
Yeah, with Meta and specifically, like, just speaking, I'm just going to kind of stick to this downsizer one, or maybe you make an ebook or a guide or an on-demand webinar that you create. The Facebook lead form that they provide does convert higher than most landing pages if you were to drive traffic to your landing page with multi-steps. So if you're trying to get volume, the Facebook lead form will provide that. And they even have new features on the Facebook lead form where you can make them do SMS verification. So if you feel you're getting in the past, Facebook ads don't work, the lead quality is trash, there's literally a button that when you build that form out that makes them text a code to their phone. They have to put that code into the form to verify that they indeed received it, meaning they can't put a fake phone number in. They have to put a phone number in that they can receive a text on, put the code in to submit the form. That's going to increase your lead cost, but it increases your quality. So let's say that you didn't do that. It's pretty simple. You could have name, email, phone number, maybe a couple questions, submit the form. They never even left Facebook yet. They just saw your ad. They were compelled by it. They filled out the form on Facebook. Then they go to your website. That's going to get you your highest conversions. Cost per leads, for instance, on this downsizer campaign, in the example we're talking about, I've seen them anywhere from $5 a lead up to $10 a lead. So you can get a volume of leads coming in of people who might sell and buy a home simultaneously. So ultimately, when it comes to increasing your click-through rate, that's a little bit different. A click-through rate metric is saying when someone sees my ad, what is the odds that they click it? That click-through rate means impression to click. Conversion means click to form submission. So click-through rate, if your click-through rate's low, you're probably looking at a creative issue, a messaging issue in your ad copy, headline issue that you can optimize. If your click-through rate is good, but your conversion rate is low, that has to do with the landing page. So you would look at, is the landing page I'm driving them to compelling enough? Am I asking too many questions on my lead form that's making them feel like they don't, it's creating a friction in the barrier to entry through the form. So ultimately, when it comes to just figuring out what is working or not working, click-through rate or conversion, that's kind of where that falls on lines. Click-through rate problems, creative copy, conversion rate problems, landing page form.
That's awesome. Well, okay. So I think I've got all of that. Now let's jump into generating leads.
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest difference between generating a lead and just a regular lead and generating a qualified lead? Because I think this goes hand in hand with what you were just talking about. There is a significant difference between the way you're attracting people to come in and give you the information. And Facebook does a really good job of helping us do that. Like you said, it might be a little bit more expensive to do it one way versus the other. But at the end of the day, I would rather have a qualified lead at a lesser volume that I can transact with. So why don't so many people are worried about the volume of leads that they're getting rather than the qualified lead. Explain to us the difference between the two. And if you were talking to real estate agents and advising them today, what would be the best method? And different people need different things. So it really depends on the team and your structure, right?
Absolutely. When it comes to generating leads versus generating qualified leads on Facebook, this is what you'll want to do. Qualify by copy, meaning the content in the ad creative itself can disqualify people before they ever engage. For example, in the Downsizers campaign, if you're speaking to somebody wanting to downsize in your ad copy, why would somebody that is a renter wanting to be a first-time home buyer engage with that same copy? They wouldn't, because it doesn't resonate with them. So they would just skip it if it got in their news feed. The best part about Facebook right now is that they've made those AI enhancements. So when you write that copy to downsizers and it speaks to downsizers, and your landing page speaks to downsizers, and your headline speaks to downsizers, and your ad creative speaks to downsizers, Facebook takes all that information, and when you create a geographical targeting ad, it tries to push it to people this is going to resonate with, because they don't want to waste ad space on people that it's not relevant to, because if it's not relevant to that user, then it creates a bad experience on Facebook of just fluff and nonsense. And that's not what Facebook and Instagram want to do. So that's why they use the AI to be able to help you with the targeting.
Hold on.
So
Austin,
in terms of,
hold on. Don't move. My freaking computer is going to die. Don't move. Hold on.
We're good. We're good.
Wait, why isn't this
thing you need to do when it comes to generating qualified leads on Facebook versus just, influx of a ton of leads is you got the SMS verification, meaning that you know the phone number is going to be 100% accurate when it comes into your CRM. Lead costs will go up, so just pay mind to that. But also, what happens when they get in the CRM? Not every lead, even when you do it this way, is going to be qualified. There are some people that may be a first-time home buyer that it got pushed into their newsfeed and they read it maybe with a misunderstanding and filled out that form. That's where it's important to have back-end automation set up or an AI sales assistant set up to follow up with those leads. Like at Dippity, all our clients get AI sales assistants. So,
some other tools for that kind of stuff would be something like a ManyChat some people might be familiar with.
Yep, ManyChat, yep, as well as like Go High Level. If you're using Go High Level, you could push it in there and create automations. If you're using Lofty, Sierra Interactive, Follow Up Boss, you can make action plans to do text emails. So the things about those action plans is it helps the initial push out to get a response. An AI sales assistant will help be conversational. So when you get the response with an AI sales assistant, it's going to continue that conversation to qualify the lead. Where in the action plan scenario, you have to respond back when you get a response. So it's very important that when you get a qualified lead, that you tag stage appropriately so you can have lists in your CRM to know who to focus on. So in terms of generating qualified leads, that's what's going to typically help. Qualify by copy, SMS verification on the lead form, and then back-end systems to follow up with the leads, respond to, nurture, and qualify them.
Okay, let's talk about follow-up really quick. A lot of people get, they get the leads and you get super busy. How important is it to follow up within a time frame? And is there a metric that people should be following up or following through with that you'll see a higher conversion on? So for example, I receive a text, or if my CRM, we use Lofty internally, but if I receive a message, I am instantly calling these people back, and I see a higher conversion rate than a lot of real estate agents, but it's because I literally respond almost instant. Is there something behind that, or do you guys see something else in the industry where you can wait maybe 45 minutes to an hour and it doesn't really make that big of a difference?
I will tell you, speed to lead when it comes to generating leads on Facebook is extremely important. I wish I had a metric for you to tell you how important, but I'll tell you that you want to call the lead, text, and email go out within 60 seconds. And I would double dial, because sometimes that first phone call comes in, your phone number they may have not, understood is happening yet, or having their phone. So you're not stored in their phone. So you might have to double dial. When a hack that people sometimes do, it's not 100%, is they actually shoot the text out first. So it says, "Hey, this is Austin with Dippity." And then when you call, occasionally your smartphone will say, maybe Austin with Dippity or maybe Dippity. So if you send that initial text before you do the call, sometimes it makes it feel like a caller ID experience. But if you wait 45 minutes, there is a drop-off that can happen simply because they're in front of their computer or in front of their phone right now when they filled out that form. If you call within 60 seconds, they're more than likely still in front of their computer or still in front of the phone. You wait 45 minutes, they could be at the grocery store or doing things with their kids or currently, just busy. So speed to lead is very important. And if you can't get that happening within the first 2 minutes, you will see a drop-off occur in terms of connection rate. Now, all that means is the lead ain't dead. You're just going to have to make sure you have a good follow-up process in place to keep calling that lead. I would call every single lead at least 10 to 14 times before you say this lead is dead. Yeah. And then you could just move them onto a nurture campaign. But speed to lead becomes extremely important if you want to have success with Facebook ads. If you don't have the understanding, discipline to be able to block time to call these leads when it's happening, you might as well not invest because you will literally be burning cash. You have to understand speed to lead is important.
Which is what happens with so many teams, right? So many agents invest so much money and they go cash poor because they're investing in Facebook ads or this type of ad, or just there's so many shiny things to do and so much money you can spend. But if you're not following up and you don't have the right process in place, which is where, smart plans, for example, even if you have something that's super lightweight, where you create a trigger, if they say something, instantly creates that notification. And now at least that lead has something to work with. They get to know you, and then that buys you maybe a little bit of time to be able to get back to them. So if you're a super busy agent and you're out with clients all the time, and you know that that's how you work, think through how your automations work. How can they assist you, rather than just look at them as a tool that's going to respond to something?
Yeah, and actually what I'll do is, because we have a couple resources. We have in Lofty's, for people that use Lofty, we have a in Lofty's action plan library, we have a Facebook follow-up campaign that's free from Dippity. You can actually find it, and it says Dippity Dash. I think it says like Facebook ads, and we also have them for Google ads in Lofty's smart plan library. In Follow-Up Boss, we have a template that you can import into your Follow-Up Boss account when you're logged in. That's more through a link that you do to import it in. So I'll put the link to those Follow-Up Boss campaigns in the description of this video as well.
That'd be awesome. Okay, cool. So Austin's already giving you some free tools inside of your CRMs. And I'm sure if you send him a message and you're not sure where to find it, he'll help you out. But, we talked a little bit about running ads. Budgets are super important. How much should agents be expecting to spend? There is, I'm in the Central Florida market. We have some insane agents out here doing a lot of content. To my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to spend all of this money to be front and center of all of these customers. But to get started, what's a good budget to start with, and what can you expect from those leads coming in?
Yeah, that's a great question. When it comes to deciding on a budget for Facebook ads, if you're a real estate agent and you want to start generating leads, this is probably a great foundational point. You want to try to at least generate, let's just say, 100 leads a month. And in the examples we've done in this video, we've talked about this downsizing campaign. What we've been seeing through clients that we've been managing the ads for is it leads around $5 to $10 a lead for these downsizers. So if you wanted to generate 100 leads a month, and let's just play on best case scenario, it's like a $5 lead, you're spending $500 a month in ad spend. The reason I say 100 leads a month is because you may, with great follow-up and great systems in place, you might convert one high side 2% of leads that come from Facebook and Instagram. And you're probably like, well, that sucks. But it's like, do the math. Does it really suck? Yeah. Because 100 leads, 1% of them converting into an actual closing, not, mind you, some of them are just conversations that might have started. Some of them are people that may be buying in the future and you just built a connection with them. But let's say you were able to get one closing out of it with great follow-up. $500 a month is what you spent in ad spend. What is your average price point in your market? For example, where I'm at on the low side, I think I just saw a report. We're like 340,000 for a average a sale. If you do 0.25% there, that's $8,500. I don't know what your broker splits are. I know what mine are. If my broker split was right there, I'd be making $7,225 off of that. Minus my 500 is a profit of $6,225. So when it comes to what your return on ad spend is, you take that $7,225, divide it by 500, you just got a 14x return on ad spend. If you go ask ChatGPT if a 14x return on ad spend is good, that is better than any industry. If you do e-commerce and you're getting a 4x return on ad spend, that is phenomenal. If you are in any service provider, a plumber, HVAC, like 4x return on ad spend is really good. 14x is crazy. So even if you got a 4x return on your ad spend, that's really, really good. You just acquired a customer, and you got to remember marketing is kind of unique because math is all messed up. And here's why. In marketing, in sales, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. 1 + 1 equals 6. Because what happens is you just provide a great service to this one customer you just acquired. And what are they going to do? They're going to refer friends and family to you. That could end up being 6. So your $500 you spent could end up being way higher of a return on ad spend in terms of lifetime value of what that client has brought to you as well. So that's something very important to note when it comes to it.
Well, and I think it comes down to strategy. So I think that there's two things that real estate agents need to understand. You're in sales, number one, but primarily you're in marketing, right? So when you're thinking about your numbers, it doesn't cost you more to sell a $200,000 house than a $400,000 house. Is just about market positioning. So the first thing as a real estate agent that you want to understand is, like Austin said, who are you marketing to and where are you marketing? If there's an area where your budget can go from selling a house that's $200,000 versus $300,000 and it is a 5-minute drive, you might want to consider going a little bit further out of that comfort zone just to get that higher price point. And now you're earning a higher return on your investment on marketing. It's not actually costing you anything. Great example for us is we have a market that we service, and it's the average price point is about $250,000 to $300,000. If I go 5 miles down the road, my average price point is close to $600,000. If I'm going to spend $500 a month, my target market is going to be targeted towards the people that are getting $500,000-$600,000 homes rather than people that are buying $200,000 to $300,000 homes. And I'm okay with less leads to get a few more sales and more qualified in that area. The other thing is the content that you build and the ads that you run, Austin, and I want to get your take on this, but it can become evergreen, right? Because you're getting in front of a lot of people. So just because you're running ads, you should be running content. People are going to start to recognize you. So yes, they might refer you to other clients, but if you're consistently out there, if you're consistently running ads, they're going to see you. They're going to get, over time, they're going to get used to seeing you. And the first thing that should happen is that you should pop in their head when they decide to sell or buy. And that's kind of the intention, right?
Yes. So that kind of ties into retargeting. And so I think this is a good thing to kind of touch on. If you want to become a local celebrity as a real estate agent in your market, Facebook retargeting can get you there. What you want to do is set up geographical targeting, because you're going to run 2 campaigns, or at least one campaign with 2 ad sets. Ad sets are audiences. And one of those is geographical. That geographical needs to have most of your budget that you're going to be spending, because you need to attract new eyeballs, strangers, right? Mm-hmm. Get in front of them. The people that engage with that ad, you can retarget. So if they click that ad, if they engage with it in any way, you can retarget them. If they visit your website, you can install a Metapixel on your site. So whether you handed them a business card at a Chili's and they went to your website later, they're now going to start seeing your ads on Facebook and Instagram if you set up retargeting that way. Your database, if you go acquire a bunch of leads that you're able to advertise to, you can upload that list as a CSV file on Facebook and Instagram, and it becomes an audience where you're getting in front of that list. So that is extremely impactful. If you have this geographical targeting constantly attracting strangers and engagement, some of the clicks don't turn into leads. So what happens when they don't? Do you want to just never be seen again? No. You want that click that you invested in to recycle the ad spend, and how you recycle the ad spend is retargeting. And that retargeting is a smaller budget, and it will literally keep you in front of all of these people. Who's engaging with your Facebook page and profiles? Friends, family, and strangers that you attract there. Meaning your friends, your family are always going to see your retargeting ads, and that's going to keep you top of mind with them when they're at the barbecue in the spring and their family says, man, I'm thinking about selling. You got to use Brian. He does phenomenal marketing, man. I see him all the time online. That is going to be the power of retargeting and what it could do for your real estate business.
Amazing. We do it all the time and we see it. It takes time. And sometimes your customer will come in. You'll see them in your database day 1. and we will see them convert 2 years later. And that is the power of retargeting. They're not lost. You just have to stay front and center. And that's one of those tools that's just automatically running in the background. So, you talk about all of these things, and there's so many components to running these ads properly. What's the biggest mistake that you see real estate agents do themselves versus using a company like you guys or professionals that do this every day? Why should they be looking into potentially professional services at some point?
I think ultimately the biggest mistakes real estate agents are making when it comes to Facebook ads is the strategy and expectation of what happens with every lead that comes into your system. If every single lead that came into your system for $5 to $10 converted into closings, this house behind me the ceilings you wouldn't be able to see right now for sure. They'd be way higher. It would be insane, right? So you have to have that right expectation. I explained some math here earlier. The return is there if the work is put in and the systems are set up. So ultimately it comes down to the biggest mistakes are strategy and knowing how to properly set up a Facebook ad to generate leads, systems to be able to help you follow up with those leads, because every at bat you get in the CRM is not going to be a hit. The best baseball players that win MVP only get 1 out of 3 hits. So it's systems and then expectations. Also, your budget. I know we spoken have it, spending $500 a month. If you don't have $500 a month, it's okay. You can do $100 a month. You just have to spend $1 a day on Facebook for your ad to run. You could do $30 a month. It's all that's doing is slowing down your math ratio to convert a lead, but it still makes an impact. You could run a retargeting ad right now for $30 a month. Your retargeting audience is a lot smaller than the 150,000 in your city, 250,000 in your city. So you can make a splash with $30 a month, just retargeting people who engage with your Instagram page and social media profiles. You're getting back in front of your friends, your family, your sphere with ads. So I think ultimately those are the mistakes people make. I think it lies down to strategy, systems, budget, and expectations.
I'm going to add one more: knowing your audience.
Yeah.
I think you have to really understand who you're speaking to, who you're targeting, because at the end of the day, if you're targeting a client and you don't relate to them, or they're not the client that you can work with or that can work with you, then you're not going to convert. So make sure that whoever you're targeting is the right avatar. And, it goes into strategy. I think one of the biggest differentiators for us and biggest needle movers was going from doing targeted ads by ourselves and then working with a company like you guys, or you guys in general. And part of that was because we understood our strategy a little bit better, rather than just sending out an ad, trying to figure out who we were targeting. Between us, we were able to collaborate, figure out who that avatar is, and then you guys have the ability to help us pivot really fast. So when you reach that point, you test, move until you find the right target audience, and then you just hammer away. And that's really where you start to see performance kick in. But at the end of the day, you got to make those calls. You got to pick them up. So if you were a real estate agent today and you're not doing super well with your ads, what's the number one, maybe 1 or 2 things that you should be fixing inside of your ads that would help you perform a little bit better?
I would say focus on an audience, like you just said there. We brought up downsizers. Some people do probate. Some people do distressed homes. Some people do first-time home buyers. Like, find an audience you want to work with. Make a creative specifically for them. Make copy specifically for them, and then push homes. Though I think pushing homes is going to get you your most affordable lead, and most people don't look for a real estate agent before they look at homes. They look at homes before they look for the real estate agent. So that's why I think homes are a better lead generator and a more affordable lead generator
Yeah.
than pushing you as an agent.
Understood.
So find that audience, build the creative for that audience, give homes and build a list of homes for that audience. And I think you will see leads flowing into the CRM pretty quickly.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's it for today. I feel like I've become a little bit more of an expert on Facebook ads. There's so much more that you can dive into with this stuff, and I know that you guys are creating so much content and so many tools for real estate agents to be able to not just consume, but actually succeed in the marketplace, which is why it's so exciting to go through these podcasts with you. But if agents are looking to grow, how do you suggest, especially with Facebook ads, how do you suggest that, where should they start? And if they need help with you, how do they get in touch with you? What are the next steps?
Yeah, absolutely. One, we want to be an open resource for agents. We have many different things we offer to help everybody from brand new agent all the way to super teams that we work with. So I'll tell you this, if you're looking for coaching, group coaching, or services, schedule a call with us. Go to dippity.com. There's a schedule a call button up there in the top right. Pick a time. You'll actually jump on with me. We'll jump on a Zoom. We'll learn about your strategy and see what we can do to potentially help out. If you mention this episode, we can give you a 10% discount on the service that you decide to go with. So be sure to mention that you watch this episode, and we'll help you out there as well.
That's awesome. If you guys need real estate strategy, if you're curious about how to grow your business, if you're not entirely sure where to start, reach out. Either Austin or myself are happy to help you. We work with both. I love strategizing with real estate agents, trying to figure out who their proper avatar is, create a real business out of just selling homes, because just selling homes is not a business. So if you're looking to grow, if you're looking for some clarity, reach out to either one of us. We'll help you out. Until next time, Austin, we've got some good stuff coming.
We'll see you there.